Every data company makes the same claims: security, integration, scalability. InterSystems isn't just another data company. We're different by design. We've spent nearly 50 years building solutions that meet the unique needs of our customers, delivering reliable, unified data when they need it most. Starting with our unique architecture. Designed with speed and accuracy in mind, we've brought the processing closer to the data. Without having to be moved or duplicated, data can now be processed faster with fewer errors. Our software architecture delivers unparalleled speed to our customers, so they can think fast and make quick decisions with confidence, all based on actionable, error-free information. We know our partners need to be able to leverage different applications and data sources in order to work successfully. That's why our software design priorities natively process any kind of data seamlessly. From hospital systems to financial trading to space exploration, we're proud to be the platform of choice for the world's most critical applications. We've spent half a century working with complex data and delivering reliable solutions for our partners, constantly evolving and innovating to ensure you have the best possible solutions, so you can be ready for whatever comes next. And that's not just what sets us apart from other platforms. It's what gets us out of bed in the morning. InterSystems, already ready.
It's going to be hard to compete with some of the really cool breakthrough things that we're showing you here today, but I did want to come by and speak with you about InterSystems Data Platform. And I know many of you are leveraging our data platform for your applications. Those of you who are leveraging our healthcare technology, it's all built on our data platform. And I wanted to speak with you a little bit about the differentiation that we have in that platform and some of the exciting things that we have coming. And I actually like to call this thing different by design. And the reason I call it different by design is because many vendors that you hear from in technology, right? All of it, I've been in data for 40 years, all of a sudden it's like really cool, right? Because of generative AI and all of the data that are required and all of the things that we can now do that we couldn't even imagine 5, 10, 15, 40 years ago. It's all the rage. And a lot of the messages that you'll hear out in the marketplace sound very similar. We're scalable, we're highly available, we're highly performant, we've got lots of cool features and functions and the like. And we're going to tell you that same thing, but what I'm hoping to leave you with here today is that we think about it a little bit different. We are different by design at our core technology, and that difference is something that we all trust that you'll be able to leverage to create value for your clients, for your applications, for your customers. So, design is really important. Some designs are just bad, and I don't know if y'all, I see some giggling here. Y'all, anybody here familiar with this building? Beautiful design, right? So I liken it to, please don't judge. When I was a little kid, I had a magnifying glass and I would run around trying to fry ants with sunlight, right? Well, that's exactly what this building does to taxi cabs that are parked in the street at certain times during the day. So interesting, but kind of bad. Anybody ever drive one of these things? I think they were taken off the market for safety concerns. Sometimes you may design something for really great product costs, like having fewer moving parts. But in the end, that design ultimately is unsuccessful. Some designs really aren't fit for purpose when you combine them. I don't know if I would be wanting to mow the grass there, but in that strip between the electrical box and the sprinkler. But sometimes people don't think about design and its fit for purpose. And some designs are very, very elegant, but they're just not right for a specific application. I made fun of the marketing folks. I get dizzy when I stare at that, so please don't stare. We don't have any motion sickness pills. But beautiful design can often be very ineffective for some applications. So we really think that design is important. And some of those designs are timeless. And I've got some examples here, right? These are really super large ones, right? Anybody use Lego blocks at home, have kids with Lego blocks? Cool design, right? Well, except when you step on them in your bare feet in the middle of the night, they're a really, really cool design because they allow the imagination. They're very simple, very elegant, and you can build all sorts of things with these timeless designs. And it really allows for growth and innovation, something so very simple. So, we have here, you can, take these things and build yourself. This happens to be the USS Constitution, which is the oldest warship in the United States fleet. You could build that. Or, for any of you who are Star Trek fans, you could build a Constitution-class spaceship out of these same simple things. And there's no limit to where your imagination can take you. And that's really how we think about design, and that's how we think about every element of design that goes into InterSystems IRIS technology, the data platform behind so many of the things that you'll see here today. So we'll move away from toys into what does that mean, and what is different in our design, and how do I think about that? Not in any particular order, but I tried to boil it down to kind of three key things. Of course, with any product as broad and deep as InterSystems IRIS. We could be here all day. You could miss your break, which I don't want to do, but I'll try to limit it to a couple of key takeaways. First, we have a very unique architecture in the market for data management. Our core engine is integrated and interoperable. It's one thing. If you compare that to things you might buy from hyperscalers that are service-based microservices, those technologies are actually really great, and they're typically good at what they do, but they tend to be single-purpose and not integrated. So our technology is integrated and interoperable. Well, that means there are certain levels of efficiency that you can get from that, as well as long-term better total cost of ownership because you're supporting a single thing. Our technology is multi-model, meaning we can take any kind of data. We don't care what kind of data you give us. We can take any kind of data. We can consume it. Of course, our secret sauce is we consume it, we break it down and store it efficiently with compression and encryption, all the things that you need. And we guarantee that we can give it back to you exactly the way we got it. So that's kind of important when you're in data management. So we don't care what kind of data it is, we can consume it, we can give it back. But we are multi-model, so we could also give it back to you in a different format without you having to make a copy of the data or move it to another service. So you can give us a bunch of documents, we can expose that to you as a relational table, and you could run a business intelligence query against it. You can give us a bunch of images, we can give it back to you as text documents or as vectors for supporting your generative AI and your RAG model implementations of your application, all from that single integrated copy of the data. We're multilingual, so we speak many languages, meaning we can meet your application development needs where they want to be met using the most appropriate kind of interface and language, anywhere from the most current generative AI models on one end to machine learning, deep learning, SQL, object store, object script, API integration, Java, Python, and anywhere in between. So whatever is most appropriate, we can take that multi-model engine and expose it using whatever language is required. So all of these things are really good because it creates really great performance. Don't tell my engineers I said this, but even if our software was awful, because you're not making copies of data and moving data around, it's going to perform well because you have no latency. The data is already there. I'll show you later that our software is actually not awful and it's quite performant, but the point is you get a huge performance and latency advantage so you can support those real-time applications. It's resilient. You're not moving data around all over the place. When you're moving data all over the place, network connections get broken, services go down. And when that happens, it requires a human being or your application code to have some level of sophistication to figure out where things were when the problem occurred, and they get back to that state. And when you think about applications that we're deploying, especially in a healthcare scenario that are going to be applications we depend on for decades, right? Being able to improve that cost of support is a huge improvement. And overall, a best-in-class total cost of ownership. You're making fewer copies of data. Your footprint is going to be much more efficient because of this unique architectural approach. There's no other technology in the marketplace that does these things. There are a lot of, by the way, there's a lot of great technology out there, but typically data management software starts as a relational store or as an object store or as a document store. And so at their core, they're kind of focused on that specific flavor of data management. We didn't start in any of those scenarios, and we built our application, our data management infrastructure, to be like those building blocks that let you affect any outcome that is required. Because of this technology, we let you bring processing to your data and not have to move your data to processing. So, not to date myself, I've been doing this data management thing for 39 years. And I remember like my first year in the business, talking with CIOs and talking about, at the time, data mart technology. Here, anybody remember data marts? Yeah, we're dating ourselves. And saying, you want to remove silos. You want to pull data together and get rid of those silos so that you can be more effective in the decisions that you're making. And what happened? It's only gotten worse, and it's only gotten more expensive. Think about with the advent of the internet and with cloud, where now it could be the majority of the data that we really care about exists outside of our firewall. That's the ultimate silo, right? So silos persist. Think about some of the new whiz-bang applications you see with bolt-on generative AI technology, where you take a whole bunch of data and ship it somewhere looking for that outcome. Well, a couple of things happen in that scenario. One, we get back to it's slow, right? Moving data is inherently slow. I know scientists are probably working on it, but we haven't figured out how to increase the speed of light, so there's going to take some time for data to go from one place to another place, especially if they're physically disparate. It's expensive, right? Most of these technologies, network cost, ingress fees, egress fees, it adds to the total cost of the solution. It's error prone. I mentioned before, network connections go down. Oh, what happened? Oh, I got to go get that data back. And security and privacy can be of concern. Once you push data outside of your direct control, certainly you don't know what happens to it after it goes there. It also can get stale. It may need an update, adding to the cost and the overall management requirements of keeping that data current. Because we're multi-model, because we're multilingual, we let you bring that processing to your data, which makes a lot of sense from a security, privacy, latency, control, and total cost of ownership perspective. Want to run a new small language model or large language model against vectors that are stored in your IRIS database? We do that. You don't have to move the data anywhere. And in the world we live in, especially in a healthcare vertical with security, privacy concerns, regulations, and the like, this creates a great option outside of just the better total cost of ownership, performance, and ability to control what's happening. In addition, we support really quick time to value. A lot of the pundits talking about generative AI, I'm one of them that's been quoted once in a while, so what's going to happen in 2026? Well, in 2026, a lot of people really want to move from hobby to real business value. How do I interact with my clients or patients in a better way? How do I improve overall operational efficiency and internal costs? And so we've built a number of cloud deployment options to make it easier to get that quick time to value. Earlier today, you saw the art of possible with Andrew, Dimitri, and team. You're going to see a little bit more about the things that we're doing in action. And a lot of this really is enabled by those first two factors and the way we're packaging the technology to make it easy to consume, easy to learn, easy to use. And then, of course, outside of our application business, in the core data platform, we actually offer flavors of IRIS for health, for financial services, for supply and logistics, where we build pre-built connectors and other things that help you get faster on the path to providing value. So, anybody here follow me on LinkedIn? Okay, I'm going to humbly ask you, I have a really unusual name, and that is also not an avatar of me. We actually were just recently named by ISG Research as number 2, the leader in data platforms. And part of the story, and there are other analysts' reports that we have available to you all, part of the story is we go and explain this difference, this unique architecture. And of course, they all start the meeting like, yeah, we've heard this before. When we really dig under the covers and show the value that we create, this is what came up. So the reason I asked is if you follow me, if you don't, please do, and reshare this, because that will quadruple the impact of our small marketing budget in getting the word out about how wonderful our data platform is. Finally, earlier on, I was teasing a little bit, and I said, because of our architecture, even if our software didn't scale and wasn't fast, it would be great, but it scales and it's fast. I wanted to share with you a slide that our key partner, Epic, showed on stage at our Ready event just a few months ago. This is their data, not our data, and it talks about our relative performance. So the turquoise line down here is they actually came to us and said, our clients are growing, our application is growing, we need to be able to get more stuff done. Could you help us with that? And so we set out in early 2019. Here we had a small margin on a smaller number. And you can see here in working with them, we've been able to grow nearly exponentially based on the differentiated architecture. The other thing that's interesting, and I didn't have the version of the slide, I wanted to show the one they showed. IRIS was actually released in early 2019. The slope before this was very flat. So what we've done in building IRIS and rebuilding that architecture is enable this kind of high value, high performance throughput. The other thing that I will mention, you're familiar with Amazon Prime Day? Maybe a little bit, shop too much? So on Amazon Prime Day, Amazon actually publishes the results. They should be proud of the results because they process hundreds of millions of transactions in a very short period of time. It's very high demand. And they use a very similar architecture to get that done. And I can tell you that this year's Amazon Prime Day is 2025. With unlimited resource, they own the cloud, right? Unlimited resource, they came in just below this blue line. And so my point is that Amazon Prime Day is pretty much like Tuesday afternoon for Epic running on InterSystems IRIS. And we're committed to continuing to invest not only in generative AI, feature functionality, speed, scale, security, but also your success for the long term. Where I want to end, we heard earlier from our founder, Terry Reagan. I also want to echo the different by design in terms of who we are as a company. Our technology is very different by design, and hopefully you'll be able to take away from what I've told you our unique architecture, bringing processing to the data, and being able to get quick time to value. We also, in the technology world, are a bit of an anomaly. We are a private company. We've been private for almost 50 years, 48 years, 47 years, something like that. We are consistently growing. We are profitable. We are expanding our offerings, not only in data platforms, but cloud applications and cloud services. And we're really thrilled in the trailing year when we look at our overall growth. We actually grew our cloud customer count by 45% and our cloud revenue by just about 40%. So we're firing on all the cylinders. I think we've kind of made that transition into modern technology that is AI enabled. And again, we're able to deliver it because of our unique architecture and our unique value proposition. I'm going to move ahead. You're going to see a lot more today about our agentic AI, our commitment to the overall platform. But I think most importantly, as Terry said in his closing, we are creative data technology with a passion for excellence and client success. And we hope you feel that in every interaction that you have with us. I thank you for your kind attention. I'm going to, I think, turn you over now to a coffee break. Thank you.